Hi everyone, Sarah here from Sarah Homfray Embroidery. Today I am going to show you how to do a Peking knot, also known as a Chinese knot or a blind knot or forbidden stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do a single knot. I'm going to show you how to do a row of them and a group of them, and then I'm going to show you how to do them in a different shape. If you want to have a go at this knot in a little project, I've got a free PDF for you with some little designs of some vases on. You can have a go at this knot and have a little practice of it. For our YouTube channel members and our patrons, I have got another design for you. I've taken that from a little bag that I'm going to show you in a second, and some other designs on you, and I'm going to show you how to stitch that design. So that one's coming up for you too. Okay, so let's jump in and show you how to do one of these knots. So I'm going to show you in this little circle here. Just a quick mention, this is Pekingese stitch around the edge of the circle. It's not the same thing as a Peking knot. So you might hear those two interchangeable, different stitches, Pekingese stitch, and I'm going to show you the knot inside the circle. So I just wanted to do that just to show you the difference between the two, because you might see that come up. So I'm just going to come up where I want my knot to sit. So unlike a French knot that we wrap around a needle, we're going to wrap the Peking knot around our finger. So I'm going to do it left-handed and right-handed. So I'm a right-handed, so I'll do that one first. So it goes over my finger and underneath, back to the top. So towards me, underneath, away from me. I'm going to turn that over, and that makes a little loop. And then we're going to stick the needle inside the loop. And I'm going to come just underneath, that's where I came out. I'm going to come just underneath where I came out, leave the needle in the fabric, so we're just going to tighten that thread up. So I'm going to tighten it around the needle, and then I'm just going to take the needle through to the back and pull it down slowly so you can see what I'm doing. So that is one knot. So I'll do that again for the right-handed. So I'm going to take it over my finger towards me, underneath and away from me, turn my finger over to make that loop. Needle goes inside the loop just underneath where I came out. Tighten that thread around the needle, that bit's quite important, before you pull the needle through. I'll do one more up here. Over my finger, underneath, turn my finger over, make the loop, needle goes inside the loop underneath where I came out, tighten the thread around the needle, pull through to the back to make my knot. Okay, so I'm going to show you left-handed as well. So we're just going to mirror what I did with my right hand. So my thread is now in my left hand. I'm going to go over my finger towards me, under my finger, away from me, turn the loop over, and then the needle goes inside that loop underneath where I came out. Before I take the needle through, I'm going to tighten that thread around it and pull it through to the back. So it's just a mirror image of how I did for my right hand. So I'll do that again. So up where you want your knot to sit, thread comes over your finger, underneath, away from you, turn over the loop, needle goes inside the loop, pull it tight, needle goes through to the back. So the other thing that you can do with a Peking knot is you can make a little loop with it. So you can't do this with the French knot. They're very similar to this stage. They're made in the same way. They're both a loop with a needle through the middle, but we can make that loop a little bit bigger by the way that we work this knot. So if I go exactly the same start as I did before, so over my finger, underneath, turn that over, and I make my loop, and I put my needle inside my loop. And then if I just pull this up, instead of pulling it really tight, if I just pull it a little bit looser, and then I take my needle through to the back, I get a slightly looser knot. So let's try another one of those and see if we can do it even looser than that. You can see how this one's a little bit bigger than those other ones. So let's try another one with an even bigger loop on it. So over, under, turn that over. I'm actually going to put my finger on that loop and see if that makes a difference. Take it through to the back, catches it down, and then we've got that bigger loop underneath. So you can't do this with a French knot. So if you want a slightly different effect, try a Peking knot instead. Let's try another one of those. So needle in the loop, just pull that up. I'm just going to put my finger on that loop, and I'm going to take the needle through to the back. And that gives me a little loopy stitch. You really need two hands free to do this knot. It's much easier if you have your frame in a clamp or held some way, or put it on the table and put a weight on the end, so you've got both hands to make this knot. It's much easier. So these ones are really fun if you want a little bit of textural interest in your embroidery. You can dot these ones around. They're quite hard to get the same size, so just practice them first. You can either do them tightly or you can do them with the loops underneath. Come on, go and see Jonathan. Oh. Right, so let's have a look at how you make a row of these. I'm going to go left to right. You can go right to left. It's absolutely fine. If you're left-handed, you might want to go from right to left. You might find that easier. So let's just do exactly the same as I did before. I'm going to do these ones tight around the needle. When you see these in Chinese embroidery, they tend to be quite a tight knot, but what makes them stand out is that they're all next to each other and they work the same way. So I'm always going to do them in the same direction. So I'm twisting it over, stitching right underneath and pulling it tight around the needle, and I take the needle through to the back, and I'm just going to work them right next to each other in a row, leaving no gaps. This is how you would see them in Chinese embroidery. So let's just do a little row of those, and then I'll show you what to do if you want to put another row in over the top. So if you want to put another row in either above or below it, I suggest that you go above. So I suggest you start the bottom row first and then work upwards. These little kind of loops, especially if you make the bigger loop like I've shown you in the circle, they can sort of hang down a little bit because we work them all the same way. So it's easier if you go above it. If I try and come underneath now, I poke my needle through the knot there in order to get it nice and tight. If I come up above, I can come actually away from my knot and then work towards my knot. So I'll show you in this other colour. And now when I take my needle down, I can take it down next towards that previous knot, go underneath that stitch there, and I'm not interfering with that knot at all. Then I can pull it tight, and then I can take my needle through. So it's just a little bit easier to work it that way. So let's do another one next to it and above that. And you will find in this stitch, if you see it done in traditional Chinese embroidery, it's done very regimentally. It's all in rows and all of the stitches the same way, whereas French knots you might jump around a little bit. This one, they're all in nice neat lines. So I'm going to do that and show you how to do that. So pull it tight around the needle, take the needle through to the back. Then it's much easier to work as you're bringing your needle up away from the previous stitching and you take it down towards it. Stays you sticking your needle through the row and pulling that thread unnecessarily. And then I can make my whole row with that. If I try and go underneath, I've got to come right up next to that knot and I'm going to move it out the way. So much easier to do your first row at the bottom and then work your way up your shape and put your knots on top of the previous row. So I'm going to show you now how to shade your Peking knot and how to work it in a different shape. This is inspired by this lovely little silk bag, little silk purse that I've got with this Peking knot stitch all over it. If you would like to see more about this purse, you can check out my Tuesday Chit Chat video number 14. We look at this in lots more detail. You can get up close and see these stitches really closely. So I'm going to just show you on this little shape here. I've taken this shape of this little vase and I've done it 3 times as big. And it's just worth mentioning the size of it. This is done in 6 strands of stranded cotton. This is very, very tiny silk. So this is the original size, teeny tiny stitches. I'm doing it a lot larger so you can see it. So just have a little play with some different threads and some different sizes and practice the stitch first, and then you can go smaller with it when you've got the hang of it. So when they did their shading, they did kind of rows of it. It's not naturalistic shading. They didn't blend in the colours. They just did a row of one colour and then a row of the next colour. So I've actually split this shape into rows. I've drawn my line there. There's another line underneath here. So I know dark red up to here, medium red up to here, and light red up to the top. So it was worth marking those rows on if you want to do it this way. And then the other thing that they did was they worked the stitch all of the same way up. So you might think I'm going around a curve, I'll curve my stitch around, but they just did the stitch exactly the same way up. So I'm just going to fill it up to the line with this medium red. Again, remember working on top of the previous row, so work the rows at the bottom first. So I'm still working the same way. So around my finger inside the loop, coming underneath directly where I came out of my fabric. I'm not turning it around due to the shape. I'm just filling in that shape, but all my stitches are the same way, and that gives this uniformity to this stitch. You can tell when it's a Peking knot or a Chinese knot or a blind knot, because there's this regular form to them. They all look like they're exactly the same and in rows. So if you can see, that's probably Peking knot. French knots, we tend to be a little bit more creative with them. You can make different effects and dot them around and add them into things, but this one is more about the rows and this shading. So they'd often shade in 3 colours, a dark, a medium and a light, and just do rows of each. Don't mix them up to shade them. Of course you can do what you like with it. You don't have to do it the way that they did it, but I just thought it's interesting to look at the original one and see how it was done and what makes it Peking knot specifically. So I'm going to go all the way to the edge with that, filling in up to the line with this colour, and then I will come in with my lighter colour and fill in the rest of the shape. I'm just filling in the last stitch now, right up to the top of that line. Pack them in nice and tightly above the previous row. Pack them in really nice and tightly, and you will notice that I put an outline around this one first. Really nice way to keep your motifs nice and neat and tidy. Do your outline first and then put your knots inside them. And then they would have originally been done in silk as well, but I suggest you try them in cotton first. I've used a stranded cotton just to test them out, just to have a little bit of a practice and learn how to do this stitch, and then you can go to the silk later if you want to. So don't forget your free PDF if you want to have a go at this stitch. You can just click on the link in the description below this video to go to that. Patreons, we'll see you soon for a video on this as well. If you want to check out this silk purse, you can see that video up here. Go and have a look at that and see all about that amazing purse. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you've enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you next time.